Hello. Today I wanted to talk about whether you should sit or stand when drawing. Now, the funny thing is, I think you should actually try to do both. So, the thing about sitting in a chair of any type is that the longer you do it, I'm pretty sure it's bad for you. We really are not made for sitting for extended periods of time. So, it's also not good for your body. You do want to maintain a good posture when you're sitting because it really matters to have like your back straight when you're sitting, and also I believe your feet need to be like on the ground, so kind of like something like this. And personally, I when I first started drawing, doing it for long extended periods of time was extremely difficult. And the more I've done it, the more I have found that I could do it for much longer periods of time. But the downside to that is eventually, uh, either when I get up, I feel all of the pain, or when eventually, like, my back will just start, like, having these random pains. So it's something that, like, I really kind of fight with myself, I hate to say. I wish I didn't, but I sadly kind of do. Um, I would say probably every 25 minutes to 40 minutes is how often you should probably try to get up and stretch, walk around a little. Highly recommend it. It's just something you have to do. The funny thing is, I have an uncle who said that he knows some people that work. He's a contractor, so like he knows some people that work, and basically their computer, if they're on their computer for I think more than 45 minutes, it will lock them out and say go walk around. So I know in some cases that is not always the most convenient thing for people, but yeah, getting up is extremely important because you do not want to cause injury to yourself. I mean, I have no doubt you can injure yourself if you sit down for a way too long. It's difficult. Fighting being human. I hate to say. Now the other thing is, if you are worrying about serious back pain, I mean, sometimes you may need to go to a professional. You may need to make sure you're not like hunched over. The other thing is you want to be in a position uh, when you're drawing. Like I think they usually say a surface it's like a 45-degree angle, that like elevated. Something like that really helps. Like let's do a 90-degree angle. Let's say that's 45. Something like that, having your palette in front of you like that. The extra benefit is it prevents distortion, so there is no distortion when you're drawing the thing that you want to. If you were to draw like with something flat on a desk, I believe that you can get perspective distortion if you were writing it, which is a shame. But I think, like I said, the 45-degree angle, like it's better for your back, and you also prevents distortion. So the other thing I wanted to mention is standing. So I highly do recommend it. I feel like more often than not, when you adjust yourself to draw in different angles and whatnot, you could actually kind of move around a bit, and perhaps like you won't succumb to the back pain as fast. Now, in an effort to do that, you usually have to have like some type of stand or rising table. Personally, I have an IKEA Skarsta desk. It's basically a sit rise desk that has a hand crank. I prefer the hand crank mostly because I tend like okay, Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna sound weird. I draw digitally and I draw traditionally as well, but more often than not, I don't like to have a total dependency on technology. When I say that, I know it sounds a little bit weird. I love technology, I really do, but I'm also always very aware of all of the things I have plugged into the wall, and you know, like, do I really need the click of a button to rise my my desk? I mean, funny thing enough, or I said that wrong. Uh, Funnily enough, I actually have two of them, and they're not that expensive. I think they were like $200 and $300. I have one that's a dedicated standing desk, and I have another one that's a dedicated sitting desk. So it works out for me like perfectly because I I alternate between them. Um, I also do recommend that you do daily exercise. That really helps alleviate a lot of my pain. So another thing that I kind of wanted to tell you about myself is that before the pandemic and before I was working from home, I never had a standing desk. And the problem was, every day when I would go into work, I would pretty much be sitting at a computer for like 8 hours straight, more often not longer than that. And I would leave and I would just be in a horrible pain. My back would just hurt, and there wasn't a whole lot I can do about it. It was, I tried doing various stretches. Even at work, I was like getting up every once in a while to stretch, but it just didn't. It just wasn't that good. Like at my office job, I only had a sit desk, and I don't think the chair was proper either. And I think the chairs are actually a little bit intentionally uncomfortable. Um, they were like angled weirdly. I think the purpose was to keep you keep you uncomfortable. I don't know. Like, I don't know if anyone else knew that, but I don't know if whoever bought them did. But eventually we got newer chairs and they were a lot more comfortable. And then in the future they became not comfortable again. So I don't know what that means, but at my home I do have a comfortable chair. It's like a swivel chair, and it has a good cushion and back support, and it's all like soft. I don't know what type of chair it is. You know what? I'll let me If you give me like 1 second here, I'll go into my past Amazon orders and try to see if I could find it for you. I bought it a long time ago, so it's kind of a bit up in the air whether I can find it. Um, I don't know. I can't find it. That is really bizarre. I know I have the manual around here somewhere, so maybe I'll have to put that in. I mean, it's a pretty standard. Uh, it's a pretty standard chair. I'm pretty sure I could just find it. Wow, it is really difficult to find it. That's annoying. But it's a really good chair. Sometimes you'll hear like that sound. That sound, yeah, that sound in my video. That's because the back kind of lets you move your back. Like it lets you. Okay, so it tilts a little bit. So if I ever need to stretch, I feel like I can kind of do that without having to get up. Although I don't use that as a substitute, but it's good to know that I could keep my back straight with that. Um, yeah, darn, I can't find this. Like, this is a really, really good um, back chair. You know what? I'm gonna go the extra mile for you. I'm gonna get up and find the manual for you in like 10 seconds. Ugh. Okay. Well, that's annoying because that's not it. What the heck? Why can't I find it? Okay, it may be any one of these papers that I have here, and it's none of them. Well, that's annoying. Like, I keep all of my stuff together. I don't know what the heck is up with this. I still can't find it. Well, I'm really sorry about that, because now I just have a bunch of papers all in my room everywhere. Okay, I'm not gonna... Sorry about that. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is drawing in nature. I do highly recommend you do that. Now, in this sense, you actually... There are various ways you can do it. You could do it standing. If you have a drawing board of some sort, but you could also crouch or like squat if you want to. More often than not, if you're drawing in nature, you'll probably be like kind of doing a squat. I'm not sure how to best draw it. You know, something like that. And if you have a board, you can kind of just rest it on your legs. Personally, when I'm drawing digitally, I will use I'll use my digital drawing tablet, but sometimes I will, well actually no, I'll never use my other one, my traditional, for when I'm sitting at my desk. More often than not, if I'm using like an easel or something like that, I will use my larger 23 by 26 drawing board and put paper on it, or I will use my Springer Atlas. It's like a 12 by 18 board. I think it's Masonite. I don't think they sell it anymore. The other thing is using Bristol. So Bristol Smooth. I do have this pulled up. So the other thing is when you're doing a lot of rapid iteration for drawing, eventually it's like more cost effective to like get a roll of paper, I believe. I mean, well, I don't know. It depends. Like, you could use printer paper, but I think over time you may want to use like, if you buy a paper roll, you can just cut it yourself to whatever size you need to, and like printer paper is usually like, I don't know, A4. And eventually, like, you can't cover the whole surface of your drawing surface. Like, if you're using a board that's 23 inches by 26, you want to like cover that entire surface area, right? So the other thing that I want to kind of share is what I like to call the usable area. Let's say this is my drawing board, right? You know, drawing boards usually have like some type of handle. Let's just say, I'm guessing like this is the 23, if I could draw, write it. And this is the 26, and they usually have like a, I don't know, like a clamp on both. So you have to think, it's 23 by 26, but there's some unusable parts of that board. Like this, well, you can cut an inch off here because you can't draw over that handle thing. So the other thing is the clamps here, you also really can't draw over that area because it's just not possible. So you have just a little less. And the other thing is, like, well, you can't really draw anything big on the edges because your pencil thing or pen or whatever you're using may like slip off the page. So if you could think of the usable drawing area as a little bit smaller, like, you're gonna have to waste just a little bit of paper, but I mean, actually, you don't even have to do it. I mean, if you cut it so it fits into this area here, then you eliminate a lot of waste, and you also have a lot more surface area to draw what you need to draw. So if you think of it in terms like that, that's a good suggestion that I would highly recommend you do. Oh, I want to offer you some other tips. So if you are cutting your own paper, buy, like, it usually comes in, like, I think it comes in 42 inches. I bought a 42-inch roller. That, the reason why I got a 42-inch roller was so that I could have an area that I can cut it straight, and then I'd probably have to cut it again. Like, I think if it's 42 divided by 2, 21, 21. That's probably about, if I can get 221 pieces and work with it in this area, I think that's about a good range. Because, the other thing is you want to stack your paper, because more often than not, when you put it on any drawing board, if you don't put finer paper under it to kind of act as a buffer between the masonite board or whatever the material the board is made out of, it can sometimes cause you to damage your pen, or it can make your lead snap because like a lot of the boards have like little bumps in them. Like, I don't know what you would call it, but it's just not perfectly plain. So what I would do is I would stack, like, under it a bunch of other of the same paper, and like the benefit to that is when you're done filling up the entire page of one piece, you can just swap it. You could just unclamp the paper and put it on. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is usually the boards come with a rubber band on one end to also help keep it clamped on the board on the other end, because like it's just clamped over here. It's just clamped over there, but it wouldn't be clamped over here. You may not need that rubber band if you just want to like drape it, like if you want to hold your board the other way. But yeah, I do highly recommend you layer your paper to prevent the texture of the masonite or board coming through. I learned the hard way. I destroyed many fine liners when I was doing a drawing course, and it's like I couldn't figure out why I was having these issues all the time until someone told me to do that. Oh boy, I felt stupid. Okay, so we determined a 42 roller to do that. The other, I mean, you could use scissors. So the other thing is when you have that, I felt stupid because I actually have to go to like a hardware supply store. I need to get a 42-inch wood piece. The reason is because to cut the paper, you can use scissors, but if you want a straight cut, you're also going to need a what do you call it? It's like it's a cutter, but it's like a wheel. I'm not really sure what you would call it. It's like a constrained wheel. I keep thinking like a pizza cutter, but this one is a bit sharper to cut paper. So like you can get a straight line by constraining it, cutting it up like against a roller. So like if you have a roller here and the blade right here, you just go down and you'll be able to cut the paper in a straight way, compared to if you're using scissors. I think scissors make it more complicated because when you're using scissors, the arc of motion, like you have to do it again and again and again, unless your scissors are very sharp. But if you have the roller thing, you could just do it in one single cutting motion, so you get a straight end for your paper. So I do highly recommend that. So in short, it's like stop, drop, and roll. Like, when you learned in school, it was stop, drop, and roll. But for avoiding back pain, it's like sit, stand, or crouch, and take breaks. Stretch breaks. That's what I would recommend for doing it. So the answer is, it was a trick question. It's a little bit of it all. And always be aware of your body, and be aware when you're pushing yourself, because sometimes there is a bit of a mind over matter, and it kind of gets weird. So like, if you ever heard of like the old one in which like a mother, I don't know, a baby got trapped under a car, and like a mom was able to lift the car, and it's like, whoa, that's like a mind over matter thing to get that miraculous strength to be able to do that. But you have to think of it like this: after that mom was able to lift that car to get her baby out, Which in that case, of course, you're going to do it. I'm not saying don't do it, but you have to think that you are going to sustain some level of damage to your body. So, like, I mean, in that case, definitely worth it. Or, you know, like, saving a life, definitely worth it. But do know that, like, in drawing, it's all worth it, is what I would say. But just don't hurt yourself. Like, the other thing is, you know, like, if you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Because, like, a bad habit of mine when either being drawing or being at work, not going to the bathroom when you need to, that's really bad for you. You need to do it. Just something you have to force yourself to do. So just be aware of your body and draw like hell. That's what I would say. So thanks for listening to this video. I think I got way too serious there and went on some interesting tangents, and I hope no one's mad that I took a little intermission to try to find a source for the chair that I have owned for a long time, but seem to not be able to find the instruction pamphlet for it. So I don't know where that is because I keep everything together. So if you like my channel, please subscribe. If you like the video, please like it. And if you have a question, please ask in the comments. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.